This is a problem that can manifest. Hello, everybody. The Savior's Champion is available for free in Kindle format right now, but it's only available for free today. So if you want to get it, you have to go fast. Linked below. On to today's topic. Today we are talking about the climax of your novel, which is arguably the most important part of your story. The climax is when the conflict of your novel comes to a head. Towards the beginning of your novel, a conflict is introduced that your main character needs to solve. This could be something as simple as winning a beauty pageant or something as complex as preventing an alien race from destroying the galaxy. During the climax, your main character faces this conflict head on and they either win or lose. If they lose, you're usually writing a tragedy or maybe a mid-series novel with a cliffhanger ending. Or maybe the intention is for the main character to learn a lesson that is far more important than whatever goal they were trying to achieve. But I'd argue that over half the time, the main character succeeds during the climax, at least in some way. And it's very important that this success feels earned. You want the readers to feel satisfied by the climax. There is a very obvious joke to be made here, but I'm just gonna move right past it. This is the biggest problem that writers run into during the stage. The number one complaint is that the climax doesn't feel earned. It feels as though the win was too easily handed to the main character. And if you mess up the climax, it can completely destroy the reading experience. It can take an otherwise amazing read from 5 stars all the way down to 1 or 2 stars. So I'm breaking down what makes your climax feel unearned and how to fix it. There are 3 main issues and all of them have simple fixes, so you've got no excuse. You gotta get it right. Now, I want to preface this with a warning. All novels are different with different stakes and different levels of intensity. Cozy and contemporary novels often have lower stakes, which means the climax isn't some death-defying task, whereas fantasy and sci-fi often have extremely high stakes, so the climax could literally be life or death. So with the advice I'm providing today, please keep in mind that it varies from genre to genre in terms of intensity. Your characters don't need to almost die if you're writing a slice of life novel or a rom-com, is what I'm saying. The first and probably most revealing issue is the deus ex machina. Deus ex machina. I never know if I said this word right. Deus ex machina. I think that's right. This is when a seemingly unsolvable situation is suddenly rectified by something or someone unexpected. Maybe the villain is too powerful, so the author randomly creates a brand new type of magic that was unheard of throughout the story. Or maybe a brand new character is introduced to rid the happy couple of their woes. This issue is revealing because it tells the reader that the writer wrote themselves into a corner. They made the conflict so complicated that they themselves couldn't figure out how to undo it. So they whipped up something in the final hour to get the job done. This makes the conflict feel unearned because your readers are experiencing the story alongside the characters. They feel involved, and they often try to figure out themselves how to conquer the conflict or win the battle. But if you rely on this plot device, you've eliminated their ability to problem solve. It was never possible for them to tackle the climax because the solution wasn't even a part of the novel until the very end. You shoehorned it in there at the last second, which also means the main character couldn't have solved the problem either. Some outside source is doing it for them, which makes the victory feel cheap. The easiest way to fix this issue, and I know you hate to hear it, but it's to plan ahead. A lot of writers start from the climax of their novel and work their way backwards. They know how the victory goes down, now they just need to figure out every step that leads up to that moment. If you are heavily against outlining, there are plenty of pantsers who only plan their climax and nothing else. So consider that an option. The point is, it's hard to write yourself into a corner when you know exactly where you're headed. The next issue is easy sailing. It was too easy for your main character to reach the climax and solve the conflict. This is a problem that can manifest in 2 ways. For starters, we have the rising action, which is a series of plot points leading up to the climax. The rising action is designed to take your characters closer to the climax through a series of wins and losses. Emphasis on losses. Sometimes writers make the path of the rising action too easy, but the point of this part of your novel is for the characters to struggle. In a coming-of-age novel, this may look like your main character dealing with bullies. In an epic fantasy novel, this could be a series of battles before your hero storms the castle. But the point is, it's your job to make sure the path isn't easy. It can be easy at times, even happy or fun, but there need to be struggles along the way that make it difficult for your character to reach the climax. I have a video all about this. It's about how to to write the rising action of your novel, so if you need more help, definitely check it out. The next part of this issue is what I refer to as the almost. This is a moment either before or during your climax where your main character almost fails. They're fighting the big bad villain and the villain's sword is pointed at their throat. Or they're running through an airport trying to catch their love interest's flight, but they just missed it. But of course, at the very last second, the main character rallies and they defeat the bad guy. Or they discover that their love interest didn't get on the plane and they're waiting for them at the airport. You are not required to write the almost in every genre, but for a lot of genres, especially action-packed stories, the almost makes the climax feel earned. We want to see this character nearly fail before they succeed. It's entertaining and inspiring. If your climax doesn't feel earned, there's a good chance you didn't include the almost, so go back to the drawing board and see if you can wedge that moment somewhere in the mix. The last issue that'll make a climax feel unearned is zero character development. There are a whole bunch of different types of character arcs available to writers. I have a video on this topic as well, so check it out if you want a deep dive. But usually characters change in some way throughout a novel. They learn something about life, the world around them, or more likely about themselves. This change is especially important during the climax because it usually instigates their success. It can also instigate their failure, but again, that's not the type of climax we're talking about. Maybe the character was born with cursed magic they were taught to hate. But throughout the course of the novel, they learn to embrace this part of themselves and they're able to use that magic to defeat the bad guy. Maybe your main character starts off the novel really insecure, but throughout the story, their confidence grows, and by the climax, they're finally able to tell their crush how they feel. This makes the climax feel earned because readers can see the work the character has done. We see their evolution. But Jenna, flat arcs exist. That's true. Not all characters change throughout the course of the novel, but if that's the case, you really need to lean into the previous point we discussed. Katniss may have had a flat arc through the Hunger Games, but she struggled significantly. Additionally, flat arcs are usually seen in very specific genres and are virtually unheard of in other genres. So before you write one, make sure that you're writing the appropriate kind of story to make it work. Ultimately, it's very common for your main character to grow and evolve throughout the course of the story, and for this growth to instigate their win during the climax. So if you've skipped this element in your storytelling, there's a chance that your climax is going to feel unearned. So that's all I got for you today. If you'd like help writing your very own book, check out my writing craft books, How to Write Romantasy, as well as Shut Up and Write the Book. They're available at all major retailers. I have them linked below. If Romantasy is more your vibe, the first 3 books in my Romantasy series, the Savior series, are available right now on Kindle Unlimited. You can check out The Savior's Champion, The Savior's Sister, and The Savior's Army. They are also linked below. And don't forget, The Savior's Champion is free for today only, so get on it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays and I host live streams on Mondays. And if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, ring that bell. Bye! The 3rd installment to the Savior series is finally here. Want to see what Tobias and Layla are up to after the Sovereigns tournament? Check out The Savior's Army by me. And if you want any updates about my other books, or if you just want some writing advice, be sure to subscribe to my channel and ring that bell. See you soon!